Does this hit a little too close to home? It's the painful reality in way too many companies. But today, we're talking about how to fix this exact problem, how to finally move beyond budgeting by decibel level.
For so many of us, the annual budgeting process feels less like a strategic meeting and more like, well, walking through a political minefield. It's this frustrating black box, right? Where you know that backroom deals and who you know often matter more than actual business value.
And let's be crystal clear about the stakes here. This isn't just inefficient, it's actively destroying value. Every time a pet project wins out over a real strategic need, you're not just burning cash, you're undermining your own strategy and creating a ton of frustration.
The goal is to get from the chaos on the left to the clarity on the right. We need to swap out that political black box system for one that's transparent, objective, and led by the business. A system where everyone in the room understands exactly why a project gets the green light.
So, how do you make that jump? This is exactly where the framework comes in. It's called the Objective Prioritization Model, and it's all about replacing those subjective, passion-filled arguments with clean, data-driven logic.
The core idea is actually super simple, but it's incredibly powerful. We just stop debating opinions. Instead, we start evaluating data using a fair, repeatable system that's tied directly to our strategy. It forces a real, honest conversation about what truly matters.
The whole thing boils down to this really straightforward four-step process. It's a clean, logical way to bring structure to what's usually a pretty messy conversation. So let's break down each of these steps.
The very first step is to categorize every project by its value center, and this part is absolutely key. Why? Because it forces you to admit that not all projects are created equal. You just can't judge a cost-cutting project with the same yardstick you'd use for a bold new investment, right?
Okay, next up. Every single project, and I mean every one, no matter its category, gets scored against these 5 universal criteria. This makes sure you're getting a full 360-degree view of every proposal, from the hard financials all the way to strategic fit and potential risks.
And this right here, this is the model's secret sauce, the weighting. Just look at this. For an investment center project, strategy is a whopping 40% of the score. But for a cost center project, boom, the financial score jumps to 50%. This is how the framework makes sure you're always measuring a project against its true purpose.
Okay, the framework sounds good in theory, doesn't it? But how do you actually make this happen in the real world? Let's switch gears and get into the actionable playbook. How do you actually get this thing off the ground?
You've got to do 3 things right out of the gate. First, you need a cross-functional council to own this. It can't just be an IT or finance thing. Second, you get that council in a room to hammer out and agree on the weights. That debate is absolutely critical for getting everyone aligned. And third, you lay down the law. No project even gets discussed without a solid business case. No data, no discussion. Period.
And here's a fantastic pro tip for you. Once you're up and running, you have to track this metric, the prioritization override rate. It's just the percentage of projects that get funded anyway, even with a low score. Think of it as your politics meter. It's an honest, powerful way to see how much of the old way is still creeping back into the process.
Let me make this tangible with a quick story. There was a large utility company completely stuck in this political mess, and they had one of those division heads, you know the type, really powerful, really influential, and he always got his pet projects funded, year after year.
So, a new CFO comes in and rolls out this very model. That flashy grid project that always won, it got categorized as a service center project. Important, sure, but it was about supporting existing operations. Meanwhile, a new billing system that had been put off for years got categorized as an investment center project, tied directly to the big corporate goals. So when they ran the numbers, the billing system scored way higher because of that huge weighting on strategy and customer impact. For the first time, the powerful divisions project wasn't number 1. And here's the kicker, the decision was accepted by everyone. Why? Because the process was transparent and you just couldn't argue with the logic.
Now, listen, this isn't a silver bullet. You have to watch out for a few pitfalls. Of course, teams are going to try to game the scores in their business cases, so you need strong oversight. The model also needs a little bit of flexibility for true emergencies. But the most important thing is this. If the business side doesn't truly own this process, it will eventually fail.
So, we've walked through the problem, the framework, and how to implement it, which brings us to the most important part of all, what you can do about it, like right now.
So here it is, your Monday morning action. I want you to go to your leadership team and ask this one simple question. If the answer is no, or if you just get a lot of uncomfortable silence and people staring at their shoes, you know you have work to do. And the good news is, now you have the framework to start that conversation.